Hi, I'm Lindsay with Ellie and Max Sewing Patterns. Today I want to show you our new Florence Foldover Bag. I love this pattern and how my bag turned out. It features faux zippers and decorations with rivets. It has a main zipper option or a magnetic snap option. There's a zipper option inside, and there's a zipper option on the back. This is the small size, which is great. I like it, and I think that it's a really nice size. And then we're also going to sew up the large version, so then you can see the comparison between the small and the large. Come along, let's get started. We have our pattern pieces cut out and ready to go. The pattern pieces that you see with the brown are the wrong sides of my main bag pieces. And then the pretty fabric is the lining. I'm doing the front pieced option, and for this option, the pattern pieces can get confusing. So I highly recommend to mark it in some way to show you what the front left top, front right top, front left bottom, and front right bottom pieces are before you begin, because it is easy to mix them up. When I was sewing my teal bag, I did run into that issue. So recommend that whichever way works for you, mark it so that you know. I also marked an arrow to show me which direction up was, just to orient myself with the piece. I have added interfacing to the back of my lining pieces, and I have also marked the zipper markings, and any other markings that are on the pattern pieces have already been marked to the back or wrong side of all of my pattern pieces. First thing I want to show you how to do is to put your zipper pulls onto your number 5 zipper tape if this is what you purchased and are using. If you purchased a ready-to-go zipper, you probably won't need this part of the tutorial, but for anyone who's going to use zipper tape, then this is how you'll do it. You're first going to pull the zipper apart, and then you just want to trim off just a little bit on this one side, like that, so that they're uneven, okay? Then you're going to take your zipper pull, and you want this part to be towards you or down, and then you're going to put one side in, and then you're going to feed the other side in, okay? And then holding that, you're going to pull your zipper. Now your zipper's on there, right? It's good to go. These are the faux zipper. The shorter ones are for the faux zipper in the front. Now we're going to make sure that we stitch each end as well so that your zipper pulls won't come off. Once you have your zipper pulls on, then you can move on to the next step, which is going to be adding our faux zippers to the front pieces. Remember that I said that it was important to label which piece goes where. So now that I have it all lined up correctly, then we're going to be working on this part. My fabric looks like this. It's a lovely vinyl, and I don't need to interface it because it's reasonably sturdy already. But if you're using any kind of fabric that isn't vinyl or leather, you will want to add interfacing to the wrong side, and it's actually a little less. It excludes the seam allowance, so it's the dotted line on your pattern pieces. That's where you'll cut your interfacing. So that way your interfacing would be in this area, but it would not be in the seams. So you're going to take the front top pieces, and we're going to cut the zipper welt pocket so that we can get our zippers installed. So you're actually going to just cut along this center line and then into the corners, but do not cut around the rectangle. I'll show you. What you want to do is to cut down the center line and then into the corners, just like that. That's what you're going for. So I'll show you how I did that. I like to fold my piece so I can make just a tiny little snip right there on that line. And then I open it up and I just follow my line right to the corner. See? It's really important that you clip all the way to that corner because it won't lay properly when you sew the zipper on if you don't do that. Okay, just like that. As you can see, it's really easy to get these turned around, so that's why the labels are important. So this is a seam roller. It's helpful when you need to press open seams that maybe you can't use your iron for. I'll probably use a press cloth and go ahead and still try to press this with very low heat, because even with this roller, I feel like it doesn't want to stay open. And I'm actually probably also going to tape it down, just so that I can really make sure that this is gonna stay open. In the instructions, you'll see that too, where there is a suggestion that if you need, you can tape down this part to kind of keep it out of the way. Let's get our iron. Always want to use a press cloth with anything that you think could melt. Just a cheap Dritz brand press cloth, but you could use a pillowcase or, you know, another piece of cotton fabric or something like that that's going to add a little barrier of protection for your fabric. Until I get my iron ready here. Gotta be careful not to burn yourself. So that helped a little, right? It's like kind of wanting to stay down now. But ultimately, I still feel like I'm gonna need the tape. You also want to keep these corners out of the way. So it's the whole box. Okay, then you're gonna repeat it for the other side. And then after we tape it, I went ahead and stitched at each end like I told you I was going to do, and I did all of them at once. I just find if I do everything at once for specific steps, it saves time in the end because you're not kind of going back and doing the same things over and over. So if you can kind of do some of the things ahead of time, that makes sense. And I highly recommend that you read through the instructions before you start your project because it'll help clear up some questions ahead of time if you do a quick run through of, you know, what the steps are and what happens when. Put some tape here like that. Okay. Sometimes it's hard to even keep the tape down. So I do have specific like double-sided tape that you can also use for zippers, but I wasn't a huge fan personally of it because I couldn't, like, it's pretty sticky, tacky, and I couldn't get it out after I had sewn it. So I don't know, I guess maybe it just wasn't for me, but you're welcome to give it a go and see what you think. You might really like it. What I liked about the tape was after I sewed it, I could just rip the tape off. So now that you have it like this, you're gonna turn it around, and this is where I told you it gets confusing. So it's actually gonna be like this, and we're gonna put our zipper in just like that. So when we sew this, we're gonna wanna use thread that matches your vinyl usually, unless you're going for a contrast. And then you're gonna wanna use a vinyl or heavy duty or denim needle so that you can make sure it goes through the type of fabric you're using. So all of that information is in the pattern instructions. So just make sure you read over the tip section because there's a lot of really good information in there to help make this project as easy for you as it can be. You could use some double-sided tape here to hold it in place if you want. You can, you know, you could tape it on the back. You can do it however it works for you is what is recommended because you want to make this project enjoyable. So making it more about what works for you is going to be the best bet. So I'm going to repeat these steps for the next one, and then I'll meet you back and we'll go sew it up. So here I have my front top left piece, and I taped it all on there so that I wouldn't have to worry about it shifting. Again, you can use whatever method works for you. And now we're going to sew around this rectangle. Make sure that you're using a zipper foot for this step. Your sewing machine should have come with a zipper foot, and you want to make sure that that's what you're using. And then you're just going to edge stitch. So I'm going to sew right along this folded edge. When you get to your zipper pull, you can stop and make sure your needle is in your fabric. Raise your presser foot, move your zipper pull by unzipping it or zipping it depending on how yours was, and then continuing on lowering your presser foot. When you get to the corner, you're going to have your needle in the fabric and you're going to lift your presser foot and pivot. When you're going over the metal teeth of your zipper, you just want to go slowly and be careful. Sometimes I hand wind my dial to make my needle go in smoothly. So if that's something that you want to try, that works well for me. Now I'm going to lift my presser foot and pivot again. Okay, I am going to again move this zipper out of the way. And then just turn around to meet the line that you start. All right, you're gonna trim your threads, and there you have it. Your zipper is installed. So now you can remove all the tape and repeat the steps for the next piece. Now I have a needle threaded with some clear thread. You can use thread that matches your zipper. Now we're going to sew the faux zippers closed. Since these aren't actual zipper pockets, we need to go ahead and sew it closed. So you're going to take your needle up through the back of the zipper tape, and you can go through to the front, or you can do like I did and kind of go around the tape. I went up through the center. It's kind of hard. Wiggle your needle around as you go, and then pull it through, and then repeat for the other side of the zipper tape over and over. So you want to make about 4 to 5 rounds of stitches just to make sure that you're securing that zipper pull at the end. That way it won't, you know, come open and look bad. So it's just going to secure it for you. Once you have all of your stitches in place, you want to go through the loop to create a knot at the end of your stitches, and then you can trim them away and then repeat that for the other faux zipper. Double check it, should be good to go, and then we can move on to our next step. The next thing to do is to connect the top to the bottom for these pieced pieces. So what you're going to do is put them right sides together, and you want this little triangle on each side to pop over. Okay, that's some intended for the seam allowance, and then once it's sewn, you know, it should be like this. Otherwise, if you lined it up exactly, it would end up like that after seam allowance, okay? So, allowance is correct. And then you can clip it. Now we're gonna go sew. Now that we have that done, we're going to tape our zipper pulls out of the way so that we can sew the center seam. Place them right sides together, and then clip down the center seam. Just align that just like that. Make sure those zipper pulls are out of the way. Alright, and then add your clips. And now you can take it to the machine, and we're going to sew down the center. Now that you have that done, let's trim away the side corners, and you can top stitch down the center. Okay, now we're going to move on to the exterior front so that we can put on our pocket. So I have traced my pocket marking on the back for the welt pocket, and that's because I was afraid the front might ruin. So the back is where I put it, and I put it on the wrong side of the pocket lining as well. So the best way to match this up accurately is to use a pin right in the corner, and you're going to mark it like this, and then you're going to do the same on the other side. So grab a pin, put it through that corner, right at the corner. You want to be very precise for this step because it's going to keep everything lined up nice, just like that. And then you're going to go over and you're going to sew straight across this line. Do not go all the way around, just this straight line. Then we're going to repeat the same thing to find the point here and here, and then we're going to sew straight across this line, and then we'll end up with 2 parallel lines of stitches that are going to secure this while we cut through here and push our pocket through to the wrong side. But let's do this step first. Now we have our 2 rows of stitching. You can see mine didn't go all the way to the edge here. That's because when I was sewing, I realized that this line drawing was just a little bit longer than the one on the back, and to match them up, I stopped short of that. So that's okay if that happens. Just make sure that they're even on the ends, and you'll just push this up just a little further. So this little bit that we didn't extend is where I'll make my arrow come to. All right, so now we're going to cut through this middle line, and right here we're going to turn and cut toward the corner of our stitches. Okay, we want to end right at those stitches. So let me show you how to do that. I like to make a little snip and then stick my scissors through. Okay, and then I just cut carefully along this line. We're cutting through both layers of the pocket liner and the outer exterior part. Now remember, this is the one I said I would come a little further on my angle. So I'm going to stop, and then I'm going to shift, and I'm going to go right to that corner. Okay, you see that? And then we want to go to the other corner. Like my stitches might have come a little loose here. If you notice something like that, don't worry, just go back to your sewing machine, stitch a few stitches and back stitch to secure it. And I'm going to do that before I continue on to clipping my corners. I'll fix this, clip the corners, and then we'll be back for the next step. Okay, so now that we've done that, clip to our corners, we're going to press the pocket against this rectangle all the way around. Okay, remember that if you cannot press your fabric because it will melt or something, you can use like a seam roller to press the seams, which it does help, even though it sounds like maybe it wouldn't, but it really does give a little bit of a press. Okay, but I'm going to use my iron. I have it on a very low synthetic setting, and I'm still going to use my press cloth as well, just to prevent burning. Okay, and you're just wanting to get that rectangle nice and pressed around. Do it this way now. And I'm just using my fingers to really stretch that pocket away from the from the exterior piece so that I can really get a nice press there as close to the stitches as possible. And don't forget each side as well. Now we're going to push our pocket liner through that hole to the wrong side. Okay, so I'm just gonna flip this way. Have this out here, right? And you'll see that your seam is there, like that. And you're gonna actually wanna go ahead and press again now that we're on this side. Once you get it all pulled through, if your corners aren't cooperating, it's hard because I haven't pressed it yet, but if you pull opposite corners and then like this way, it will really help to open up that. I'm gonna press. Okay, so now that you have your opening nice and prepared, you can move to the next step, which is putting the zipper on. I wanted to give you some tips. So I struggled to keep this open because, you know, this is fairly thick and then and sturdy, and then this is fairly flimsy. I just really like the touches of a nice satin on the inside of a bag, so that's why I use this. So when I was pressing it, and because my iron wasn't very hot, it just wasn't wanting to stay open. So I'm going to suggest that you tape. So I actually, underneath here, I don't know if you guys can see that, but I taped down the seam allowance there. Okay, then I taped along my liner also, so it's gonna stay open nicely, okay? And I have my zipper prepared. I stitched on each end so that the zipper pull won't come off. Okay, and then we're gonna just center our zipper inside here, but just like that. Okay, and so you can, again, tape if you want. You can use like double-sided tape. There are different methods people like to use to kind of secure their zipper while they're going over to sew it. But what we're gonna do is we're going to edge stitch just like 1/8 inch in from the seam, starting on one of these sides and going all the way around. When you get to the corner, you're gonna leave your needle in the fabric, lift the presser foot and pivot, and then go straight, leave your needle in, lift your presser foot, pivot, and go back to where you started. Okay, so we're gonna go over to the sewing machine and I'm going to get that done. Now that your zipper is sewn in, you're gonna turn it over, and I have already done this, but it's essentially folding your pocket up from right, so you're gonna have the right side of the fabric touching, and we're just gonna sew up, around, and back down, and then that's gonna finish your pocket bag for the exterior zipper pocket. Doesn't that look nice? So now your pocket bag is done, and if you open your zipper, look how nice it looks. I love that inside. Now we're going to move on to the interior piece. So this is the interior lining piece, and it has the welt pocket marking. So on the back, I added interfacing because this is a thinner fabric. If you're using something thick, you wouldn't need it, but most lining fabrics, I assume, will benefit from using interfacing. This interfacing is Pellin SF101, I believe, and it almost has like a woven fabric feel. It seems like it's great for adding structure to bags, so if you are looking for the type, that's a great recommendation. So I have made my welt pocket mark on the back of my pocket bag piece and also on the back of my liner. What you want to do is place your pocket piece right sides facing your liner, and you want to match up the corners of your welt pocket just like we did on the exterior piece. So I used pins, and on this one I went ahead and pinned all around it because I don't have to worry about my pins putting holes into the vinyl like I did the first time. So this will be maybe a little bit easier. So we're going to go ahead and sew the 2 lines parallel, just like we did with the exterior bag. Then we're going to use our scissors and snip around the triangle here and then along the straight line. Then we're going to press it inside and continue with the pocket. You might notice that this pocket is shorter than the other pocket was, and that's because this is the way we are going to turn the bag right sides out. So we're going to go ahead and put the other piece on that is the same exact size, and sew, leaving an opening right here, so that we can actually turn the whole bag right side out through this hole. So it's important that you don't use the big piece and just fold it over. It's shorter for that purpose. All right? All right, well, let's go ahead and sew this, and then we can move to the next step. Now that you have your rows sewn, let's clip through, and we're going to just clip across that middle line. When you get to the triangle, stop, and then just clip right into the corners. Just like that. Careful, don't clip your stitches. And then we're going to flip this around and clip down the other end. Just follow the line again. And now we have it done and can go press it open. Now we're going to get our iron heated back up, and we're going to press around this rectangle just like we did with the exterior, and then we'll push this pocket through the welt to the back side, and that will be our next step. If you notice I went a little past the line over here, that's because this line went further, and so I made them even. It's not necessarily an issue so long as you just make sure that you move back where you start that triangle. So that's what I did. So I cut a little bit straight, a little bit longer, and then still went to the corners. But you just want it to be even. That's the main goal. Now that we have that kind of secured and open, we want to get our zipper tape and get it ready to put in. Now I have secured the ends so that the zipper pull doesn't come off, and we're going to just put it on the wrong side so that the zipper comes through on the front. Center it so that your stitches are past the opening, and then pin in place. I found that pinning worked really well for this liner piece and helped me to secure it. Alright, it looks pretty good, and now we can go sew around, starting on one of the long ends and then ending up back there. Now from the wrong side, you can trim away any excess zipper tape so it's out of the way, and trim any threads that are loose. Now it's ready for the next step. Now let's place our pocket liner piece on top of this pocket, right side together. Remember, we're going to leave an opening at the bottom. That's really important. So we're just going to clip around the edge. You can adjust them as you go, matching the corners. But we have to turn the bag through this hole, so we want to make sure that it's wide enough and that it's going to allow us to turn that bag after we sew up and around. You can stick your hand in to kind of get a feel for whether or not you have the hole large enough. And if you find that maybe it's not as big as you need, you could just move those clips out a little bit so that it's the size you need. Let's go sew it. It should look like this. All right, let's move to the next step. We're going to sew the top exterior pieced part to the bottom exterior part with our zipper. Mark it at the center and then mark it at the ends, and then you can make sure that your pocket stays down because you don't want to get it caught in the seam. So you could tape it down if you need or clip it, just keep it out of the way. Then sew across, then open the seam and top stitch down. Now it's time to sew the zipper to the top of the bag. So we're going to take our exterior piece that we put together into the front, and then we're going to take the interior piece without the zipper, so not the one we just did. And we're going to place the zipper tape with your zipper pull already on there. We're going to place that right sides together to the exterior and then place the bag on top so it sandwiches in that zipper, and then we're going to sew it. So I'll show you that and we'll keep going. So here is our exterior front. Looks really good, and we're going to go ahead and add the zipper to the top now. So we're going to just place that down. Here's my zipper. You want it to be a little longer on the ends on each side. And you'll want to go ahead and stitch on each end to secure your zipper pull. But we need to go ahead and put a zipper pull on this one because I don't have one on there yet. So remember to trim a tiny piece at the end. Place your zipper with this going down. Okay. And then just remember to sew your ends shut. And then we're going to go ahead and place our zipper tape between that. So let me go make a few stitches and I'll be right back. Okay, so now the ends are secure and we have our zipper pull on. Okay, so we want to place the zipper tape with the pull right sides facing or down to our exterior piece. Okay, and we want our ends to extend a little, remember. So we're just going to clip this. You could pin it, but if you're using vinyl, it might leave marks, so be careful. Okay, just like that. Now we're going to add this liner, the interior liner. Okay, so this piece here does not have the zipper. It is interfaced, and I recommend that for lighter weight fabrics, but we're gonna put it right sides together with the exterior. We're gonna sandwich that zipper right inside there, just like that. And then you're just going to just move your clip so that it covers both, just like that. Okay, now we're gonna go over to our sewing machine. We're gonna use a zipper foot and we're gonna sew across. Just move that zipper pull away and continue on. All right, we've made it to the rivet part of our video. Rivets are these capped metal decorations, and they're going to be here and then here. Now you might wonder, why didn't you put these on before you attached this zipper? Like, now we have to move all the stuff around. Well, the reason is because if you had put your rivets here, it would have been very difficult to sew your zipper on. So the reason that the steps are the way they are is to make the sewing process as easy as possible. So it might seem strange, but that's why we waited. Now you could have done the ones down here after you sewed this part together, but then you would have had to come back and do these. So it makes more sense to do everything all at once. I am using my new Cam Snaps rivet press to insert rivets. You can also use the packaged rivet sets from the store, and you use a hammer with those to set them. That works just fine. It's just that I find that if you're going to be making bags more often, or if you just like the ease of a tool that you just press and move on, then the Cam Snaps press or even a hand press might be something you want to look into. But you can also do it the other way. Just follow the package instructions if you buy a packet at the store. Rivets will have one that has a stem and then one that's the cap. Okay, so I'm just going to put those here for now, and I'm going to put the hole punch tool onto my press. So right now the rivet piece is on, so I'm just gonna change that out really quick so I can punch holes first. It's really fast and easy. It comes with, you know, these pieces, you just pop it in, and this piece here just screws in. And I'm going to now use the markings on the back wrong side of my exterior pieces to know where to put my holes. And I'm just going to put my holes in the center of these larger holes from the marking. Usually I will use this on a really solid surface like my floor, just because I get a better press if it's on something solid. The table that I'm on is supported at the base in the back, but it comes out and it extends without any legs. So I find that sometimes it will move with me, and that might not work. So we're gonna try it like this, but I might have to move. You can just put your fabric on here. I'm just centering it under this base piece here. There's the base piece, and I put it over it, and I'm just going to kind of center it, and then I will move that down until I see where I want it, and then I'm going to press the hole when I have it where I want it. You want to just kind of move your vinyl around a little, and that helps to cut that hole. Okay, so now we want to install our rivets. I have the holes cut, and I'm going to start by inserting the stem through the back of the hole, the wrong side, and then just snapping the cap on. Okay, and then I'm going to put them all in, and then I've got them all in here, and now I'm going to show you how to use the Cam Snap press. So you're going to just put that round end of the rivet like centered in the die there. Okay, and then the other one will be on top, and then you just press down. That's it, just like that. It was so fast. So it makes it a breeze. Just like that, all of our rivets are installed. Okay, so now that we have that step completed, we are going to add just a couple clips on each side here to keep your main exterior and your liner piece out of the way when we add the other side to the zipper. First thing you're going to do is take your other exterior piece. You want to keep it in line with where the other edge was. See? So I just want to make sure that they're going to end up at the same spot so it looks nice. And then just add a couple clips across. Okay, then flip it over to the lining side. You're going to take your lining piece that has the zipper pocket, and now you're going to sandwich that zipper in between. All right, so just line this up. And then just like before, just unclip and clip this down to have it all together. And then again, we're going to go using our zipper foot. We're gonna sew again, a straight line across there. And then we're going to have both front and back sewn to our zipper, okay? If you are doing a magnetic snap closure, you will skip the steps that I'm doing for the zipper. Now you're going to start an inch up from the end of your zipper, and you're going to top stitch an 1/8 inch all the way down. If you're able to press your fabric, go ahead and do so, or use a rolling press to just flatten the seams here before you top stitch. And if you find you've got a lot over here by your sewing machine, you can roll it up like I did to kind of keep it out of the way as you go. And you are top stitching through all three, the outer, the zipper tape, and the liner. Remember to stop 1 inch away from the edge, back stitch, and then do the other side. So we've got our zipper on. Okay. You should have top stitched, leaving 1 inch on each side, on both sides. Okay, so now we're going to clip the corners like this. We're just going to align them at the raw edge and then to the corner. And we're just going to put clips there. Like that. And we're going to do all the corners, even the lining. Make sure that you're doing this right sides together so that your clips are on the wrong side. Okay, now that all of those are clipped, we're going to go to the sewing machine and we're going to sew with our 3/8 inch seam allowance, just like we always have, and we're going to sew from the raw edge to the corner. Okay, once we're done with sewing all of these pinned or clipped corners, we're going to trim the seam allowance down to just 1/4 of an inch. Okay, let's go do that. It doesn't really matter what corners you start with. Make sure to switch your foot out from the zipper foot to your regular. Okay. Have our two little connector pieces. We are going to fold them in half and then stitch around them. Because I'm using the vinyl one, this is the method. There are other options if you want to create your own binding, if you want to use pre-made binding in the instructions, but this is just for this particular option. If you want, you can clip it, kind of keep that vinyl together. It's kind of a pain sometimes because it doesn't like to fold. Alrighty. We are so close. I am so excited to see this bag finished. Okay. So we're just gonna edge stitch around this. Okay, that's what your piece should look like. We're gonna put a D-ring on and fold it like that. And that's how our straps are going to connect on the side. Now we have our two connector pieces. So now we're going to take our connector tabs and we're going to use 1/2 inch D-rings. Okay. All right. So you're going to take your D-ring and you're going to put your connector tab inside like this so that that flat side of the D-ring is inside like that. And the curved end extends outwardly from it. All right, then just clip the ends and do the other side. Now we're gonna go get our bag and attach these where they go. So if you marked your pieces before you started, then you'll see on this piece here, this is my markings. So we wanna go to the right side, but we also kind of wanna like look at that. We are supposed to keep them 1/2 inch. This is where they go. We want the D-ring part to just be 1/2 inch, like that. And so see how there's more that hangs over the edge? That's just so that you have something to hold on to while you're sewing it on, and then that will be trimmed away. You want to make sure that that is like 1/2 inch, just right there. And this is really handy. It's a seam gauge and you can adjust it based on how much length you need, and then you can make sure that your seams are just like you want them to be. I use it for a lot of things. Okay, so now we're gonna go to the other side here. Okay, find that marking. And then we want to line that up. And then when you have it where you need it, move that clip. I like to secure it with 2, just so it doesn't move around as I'm walking from here to the machine. All right, so let's go to the machine and we're gonna baste these in place. Okay, now we have those basted on. Steer your front and back, and we're going to place them together. We're gonna place the lining pieces together. The first thing you want to do before we move forward though is to unzip this, because that's how we're turning it right side out, remember? All right, so let's go to the front pieces. We're gonna just turn this one like this a little, and you can kind of push out your seams there if you want. But we want to be able to stick this inside here, right? Because we're lining it up. The best thing to do with this part to like reduce the bulk is to do this. This one folds this way, this one folds that way. So they're going in opposite directions. This seam is still lined up, but they're going opposite ways. Okay, and that's gonna make this be an easier, way. It's just gonna look nicer. Your machine will like it more. So that's what we're gonna do. Okay. When you get up here, it's a little tricky, but you want to fold the zipper teeth here so they're up toward this like that, and then you want to clip it. It's probably going to be better if I put my zipper pull in the middle. Okay, so do your zipper tape like this. You can clip that and then clip right here, okay? Just like that. Okay, and now we can evenly clip along the sides. Okay, now just repeat that for the other side. Okay, now you are gonna go sew around the entire thing. and then use a 3/8 inch seam allowance for that. And then when you're done with that, I want you to sew again using just a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. And this is just going to reinforce your bag, okay? So we're going to do it twice, once at 3/8 and once at a 1/4. All right? Okay, so now that you've done your 2 rows of stitching all the way around the bag, we're going to find the opening in the bag and we're going to pull it right side out, okay? So here's our opening and we're gonna start with the exterior. And I like to reach my hand all the way in and through to the other end so I can really like push those corners in while I'm getting it. You can do that after too, but I just like to do that a little before. Okay, you're just gonna carefully pull this through. Doesn't really need to be a rush, but just kind of go easy because you don't want to rip your pocket. Okay, it's pretty cool, huh? Okay, and then I'm gonna stick my hand back through and get those other corners because I just really like really nice corners. Oh my goodness, I'm loving this bag so far. I just think it's gonna be so great. I'm like considering pressing that somehow, but for now I'm just gonna finger press it and move on. Okay, just push the rest of this liner through that hole. All those strings inside. Messy, wasn't it? Okay, so this is what it looks like. Yep. We're going to pull this out. Gonna press those like that and like that. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna sew this shut with like an 1/8 of an inch head stitching, but because there is so much fraying on this, I'm just gonna trim it away. To avoid this, you could do a zigzag, pinking shears, a serge around the fabric before you begin. I did that on my exterior pocket, but I didn't on this one. I was like, it's no big deal. But let me just tell you, this is kind of annoying. So anyways, I would suggest that. So you're going to just press that in. And you could use your iron or you can just finger press it. This is kind of it just doesn't press very well, this fabric of mine. But essentially, this is what we want. Okay, so what you're gonna do now is just edge stitch from like here to here, right along the edge there, making sure you catch both sides of that pocket. Now that that's done, we're gonna push that inside of that pocket. Okay, zip that now. Okay, and I'm just gonna push those corners back down because they actually go that way in the bag. Okay, and just stick that in there. Let me see in my bag. Isn't it pretty? So I'm just gonna kind of like turn my bag around while I'm working in the lining and kind of matching up those corners. There you have it. That's pretty fun, huh? Okay, so now you could take a minute, you could like go through and kind of trim all these little random rogue strings that wanted to be part of the party, but you don't want to have there. Just get them trimmed off. You can zip it all the way shut. Awesome, right? Okay, so this is what our bag looks like so far. It's pretty cool, isn't it? It's gonna fold. Okay, it's gonna fold right there. And here's our connectors for our strap. And this is how it will hang. What do you think? It's pretty awesome, huh? We just need to add the strap. So I like the chain option for this bag. So I purchased some different chains from Amazon. So I have a couple different lengths. So I did get another box. This is silver, and then this one is gold. And I really need to order rose gold, but I'll show you how it works. They come in different lengths, and this all came in one package. So I had one that I used on my first bag, and then there's different ones. So this is more like your clutch style bag handle. And this one would be more of like the medium, I would say. And then they had one more that was longer. Go ahead and use it. You could use the clips that just come right on it. That's nice. Or you can use swivel hooks. Theirs are already swivel hooks. But you could also use like this pretty swivel hook if you wanted. Now, I'm gonna order the correct color, but let's just say I did want to. How you're gonna get these off of here? All right, you're gonna take pliers. I'm not actually gonna do it because I really wanna keep this chain, but let me show you how I did it on mine because I did take it off the other. So these are initially together when, you know, you're looking at your chain. Okay, so like these are all connected. What you wanna do is stick your pliers right in here, like a needle nose pliers, really what you want. You're gonna stick it in the hole as much as you can, and you're just gonna start like pushing open. And at least this brand of chain is really difficult. So it did take me a while, and I had like two pliers, my wrench over here, my plier over here, and I was like pulling in opposite directions. That worked pretty well, and it like twisted it this way versus being able to like pry it open. And then I was able to just take this off and put on my swivel hook because I do think these look really nice. So personally, I would probably, when I get the chain in the right color, I'll probably switch these out for that just because I think they're really nice. Would make this hole big enough to stick your swivel hook on, and then your chain would continue. Like you wouldn't be using this, obviously, that's what I took off, but it would be where the swivel hook is. So it would be like that. Okay, and then just hook it right on. But since I'm not doing that, I will just hook this on. And show you. So there we go. What do you think? I think it turned out pretty good. There are lots of other options in the tutorial. You can make leather straps, you can make fabric straps, you can do a magnetic closure instead of the zip closure. You don't have to do any of this front stuff if you want. You can all be just plain vinyl or fabric of your choice. So it would be kind of like this. And it would fold over like that. And if this is magnetic, then you wouldn't have the zipper there. It would just like snap. So that's also an option. If you kind of like just the basic look, that's also fine. It just kind of depends on what you're going for. I really wanted like a pop of color, and I wanted the embellishments. So I did it all, but you can just customize this bag to you. And that's what I think I really love about it. I love bright, beautiful colors. And this to me is just so fun that I get to unzip and like, boom, there's some pretty colors. So I hope that you loved this too, and that you're excited to make your bag. If you have questions, please drop them below, or you can email our customer service team at hello@ellieandmac.com. We're always happy to help, and I look forward to sewing with you again soon. And here's how the Florence bag turned out. What do you think? I love it. I love all the decor here. I love all the zippers. I love that I can put my wallet easily accessible, my phone, my lip glosses. I can kind of organize things. So I think the large size is really great, but I love having the small one too. So you get to choose. There's so many great options. I can't wait to see what all of your bags look like. So please come and share photos of what you made in our Facebook group or tag us on Instagram at ellieandmac_patterns. Also, if you have any questions, please reach out to hello@ellieandmac.com and our customer service team will be happy to assist you. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share, and I'll sew with you again soon.